All right, today we're going to look at adding and subtracting functions. So I'm going to start with two given functions. So I have f of x and g of x. And let's say I want to add them together. We can write that down a couple ways. One is we can put f plus g of x, but more commonly you'll see this as f of x plus g of x. They mean the same thing. So we're just going to do a straight substitution. Where f of x is, I'm going to punch in what it is equal to. So x squared plus 3x plus 5. And for g of x, I'll do the same thing. G of x is x squared minus 4x plus 2, so I'm going to put that in that space. At this point, it's just combining like terms. So I have an x squared plus x squared, so we have 2x squared. I have a 3x minus 4x, so I have minus x. And then finally, plus 5 plus 2 is plus 7. Now, we can also subtract. So I could say, let's do f of x minus g of x. So I'm going to take the same approach. I'm going to start with f of x, x squared plus 3x plus 5. And then I'm going to subtract. And since we're subtracting, we need to be careful. We need to go ahead and use some parentheses. X squared minus 4x plus 2. Now, I think it's easier if you change that subtracting to adding the opposite. So I'm going to make this a plus sign, and everything in the parentheses is going to become opposite. So a minus x squared plus 4x and a minus 2. And now I just combine like terms. I have x squared minus x squared. Those completely cancel. 3x plus 4x is 7x. And then 5 minus 2 is 3. All right. With addition, we can use the commutative property. We can do it in any order. Subtraction is not commutative, so we have to make sure that we keep it in the right order. So what I'm going to point out is I'm going to go ahead and do g of x minus f of x. So I'm just going to change the order around. So for number 3, if I do g of x minus f of x, I now have x squared minus 4x plus 2 minus, and then parentheses, I'm going to put x squared plus 3x plus 5. And once again, I don't really want to subtract through parentheses, so I'm going to change it to adding the opposite. So I have x squared minus x squared, just like last time, that cancels. Negative 4x minus 3x is minus 7x, and then plus 2 minus 5 is minus 3. So if you notice, g of x minus f of x is not the same as f of x minus gx.